Those things are getting smaller by the day.
Oh, shut up. I will go to the gym right now. All right, what'd you pop it open right there? What is that?
I'm going a little different. So it's, what is it? Is it 10 o'clock in the morning right now?
No, 10:30.
10:30. Typically drinking in the morning most of the time. So I'm going with a lychee lilikoi hard juice. It's a nectar thing, and it's Asian-inspired flavors, and it's mostly juice. It's actually pretty good. I realize how foofy this sounds, but it's actually really good.
What's the percent on that thing?
6%.
Oh, nice. That's
Yeah.
actually pretty solid. I got a Level Line Pale Ale, 5%. Today we're doing Valiant One, a movie that came out somewhat recently on YouTube. I'm not surprised this did not go into theaters. I did not have high expectations going into this movie, and I got exactly what I expected.
You know, I was saying this when we were watching it, and I actually appreciate like these ambitious movies that get made, because I think it's people like us that picked up some cameras, got some money together, and went out and made a movie. Now, making a movie is really hard. It's really difficult to do. So even with what they did put together, obviously we're going to sit here and make fun of it because it's what we do. But I think this is actually pretty cool. I appreciate that somebody went out and tried this.
That's like saying bless his heart. But there are a lot of things in this movie that are just wonky and weird and just don't make sense. All right, so kind of right off the bat, I feel like this movie starts getting problematic. They loosely reference the Deltas, is what they call them, that are escorting them, which is apparently there's 2 Delta Force guys in the helicopter. They get to the DMZ, which the DMZ is the demilitarized zone. It's like no man's land between North and South Korea. You're not supposed to go there. The DMZ is also one of the most heavily mined areas in the world, like landmines.
I did not know that.
They're everywhere. And so you've got the Deltas that are their security that basically are pulling security back at the helicopter, I guess. So they're not even escorting them into the DMZ, which again is a place nobody's supposed to go. And there's landmines everywhere. And these Army intel or clerks, whatever they are, and the civilian are just running willy-nilly through one of the most dangerous places in the world. Like, it is set that way for a reason. Nobody's supposed to go north or south, but yet they're just just running through the land like there's nothing going on.
If you watch this scene further, the civilian is like really, really rude.
Strip them down, and then I'll update the software. Come on, man, it's pretty basic shit.
To all of the people that are in the military, which doesn't make any sense to me. I don't feel like that would be accurate. Like, even if you're snide, like I'm an analyst and I'm smarter than you, you still aren't just going to come in hot like that and just be a complete asshole to everybody. At least I can't imagine somebody who would do that.
Yeah, almost everybody that I've worked with in a position like this is just so happy to be there. Like, you're getting to fly on a helicopter. You're hanging out with 2 Delta Force dudes. Like, you're doing some really cool stuff that most whatever his job is, Silicon Valley guys are never going to get the chance to do. So they're going to be giddy as a little kid instead of coming off and just like being hot right away.
Not to mention you're in tech, right? You got 2 Delta guys. If you know anything about the military, those are tier 1 guys back at the helicopter. You're just going to run off treating people like crap when you got 2 tier 1 operators sitting back there and you're probably some scrawny, skinny, fat tech guy. Like, it just doesn't make any sense, it kind of takes me out of the movie because it's like, I don't believe that anybody would actually behave that way.
Yeah.
So it doesn't allow me to really follow things. But I do have a question for you, and this is, we skipped it a second ago. We didn't actually include this, but one of the guys had a wardrobe malfunction. And so you've obviously had to dress day in and day out. I mean, if you counted the amount of days you had to get up and get dressed and go to formation and go do stuff like that in the military, how did you ever have wardrobe malfunctions? And how much of your mind did you really have to keep on that at all times to make sure you didn't screw up?
All right, so the uniform that this guy's wearing in this movie, it's a zipper.
Oh.
It's not buttons like that.
So it wouldn't have been...
No, like we had, so in SF, we get different uniforms. So our like field uniforms are supplied by Patagonia, which Patagonia doesn't really put that out because they're like to be this like hippie tree hugging company, but yet they also supply the military. But so our Patagonia uniforms, they have buttons on them. He wasn't wearing that. He was wearing a regular uniform, which is just a zipper. So the fact that it's like, you can't mess it up.
Oh.
It zips up one way. So yeah, we didn't really have to worry about it too much. The biggest thing was like putting on your uniform and being like, oh, I don't have my patches, because they're Velcro and you have multiple uniforms. And if you left the one with patches at home, No, you're just like, oh. The one time that I messed up the worst was in the Q course. We had a big formation, and I was running late, and we get to this place. It's called Bank Hall. It's a place on Fort Bragg. It's like where SF, like where we train. A lot of briefs go on there. And we show up to formation. I'm looking everywhere in my car, and I don't have my hat. And in the military, like, you have to have a hat. It's your cover, and it's like, we talked about the PT belt in the article, or the Range 15. It's like your hat is something you have to have, and I don't have a hat. So I'm just like going through the parking lot, and my thing was, or if somebody was walking towards me, I just like start reaching in my cargo pocket like I was trying to pull my hat out.
Right, okay.
And then I get to formation, and we're all standing there, and I'm just like in the back, like ducking down, hoping nobody sees.
Feeling
like,
naked.
Please release us. And everybody's like, hey, your hat. I was like, I know, I don't have a hat. Because everybody says it. And then finally we get released to go inside, and we just all sprint inside. And once you're in the building, you don't wear a hat, so I was safe.
Oh, you made it through.
Dude, because in the Q course, any little thing you do can have really negative effects on your success, or at least you're going to wind up getting smoked really bad for it. Like, smoking is a physical punishment. And so the fact that I didn't have my hat the whole time, I'm sitting there just stressing, like, please let me get through this formation.
Hold still, Chief. Here we go. Ready, Chief? 3, 2, 1.
Ooh.
Go!
That's the sergeant!
All right. So on that one, they did a couple things right. They also did some things wrong. What I like about it is she's like waking him up, and she's looking, and she realizes that he's got the leg wound, and immediately you see her like with speed. You saw before, she had the tourniquet rubber banded to her kit, which is a common practice a lot of people do because it's right there, and you can just yank it off and pop the bands. So it's quick access, which a tourniquet is. If you're using a tourniquet, you need to get to it quickly. And so, which is good. She saw it, she identified it, she yanked it off, and immediately goes to putting the tourniquet on. The problem I have with this is that she found he's got a open fracture. So basically, the bone is broken and the skin's busted open. The bone might be coming out a little bit. And she's just like, oh, and like pokes it, and then grabs where the wound is at and tightens down the tourniquet, basically right on top of the wound. Mm-hmm. And so the whole way that tourniquets work is it compresses everything inside. So on the leg, it compresses the muscle and everything against the bone so that it cuts off the flow of that artery.
Right.
So if his bone is shattered, for one, it's going to be less effective. But for two, it's shattered. So don't put it on the wound. What they always teach you is go as high as possible. And so on the leg, you see the wounds in the mid-thigh. You're going to go all the way up into his crotch as high as you can and tighten it down there instead of putting it on the wound.
Did you ever have to do it?
In real life?
Yeah.
No, the only wound I ever had to fix was this idiot got hit in the head with a shovel when they were laying out gear. This was before SF. Where they're all laying out gear, and they're calling off what they needed because the unit was about to go to the field. And they're like, E-tool, which is the military little black shovel that unfolds. Yeah. And this guy is bending over to grab his E-tool, and this idiot next to him grabs his E-tool, and he's like, got it, and just yanks it up right into the dude's head. He cut him open right there, and I got to put some butterfly bandages on it.
Oh, nice.
So as a medic before SF, that was the extent.
Did you walk off like...
Yeah. What's funny is...
basically a doctor.
All of us medics, this happened, all of us medics are there watching everything go on. And me and like two buddies go to help him. So it was a 3-man team putting on two little butterfly bandages.
So that you guys all, he's like, I'm holding this one.
Yeah.
I'm holding this one so you all get credit for doing it.
It's like, are we going to get an award for this?
Like, is it one of these things that they pick specific people because you have to retain a lot of information, a lot of knowledge to do it? Or is it very basic and most people can go through it and remember?
So the way they do that is when you enlist as a medic, I mean, there's a certain ASVAB score you have to have, which is it's kind of like a standardized test before you go into the military. Mm-hmm. And your score, depending on what you get, qualifies you for different jobs. The medic ASVAB, I don't remember what the requirements are. It's probably right in the middle. It's not hard to attain. Like, it's not like only smart people get to do it. We had some pretty dumb people in our medic training. The only thing about medic school that was difficult was it was very fast-paced. So if you couldn't pick up information quickly, you were probably going to wash out. We didn't have that many people fail. But it was academically challenging to go through because there's a lot that you have to remember. Then you got to take the National Registry, the NREMT, for all my medics out there. So we have the same qualifications as an actual medic on the civilian side. We're actually registered. And the test is kind of hard. And then after that, you go into the tactical side. But I thought it was a lot of fun, though. It was awesome. It wasn't the challenge I was expecting, but it was still challenging because it was academically challenging.
Oh, nice.
All right, well, April's gone. I want to tell you guys about the Barbell Apparel annual hoodie sale that's going on right now. Anytime you spend $99 on their website, you can add on their Stealth Performance hoodie or the new Heavyweight hoodie, which is badass, and you'll get that thing for free. There's no limit. You could stack those, so every $99 you get another hoodie. And actually, you got to check out the Heavyweight hoodie. That thing is awesome. It has this nice little embroidered, subdued logo on there. So check them out, barbellapparel.com, and get yours today.
What about legal? He's not coming. What? Maybe we just give up. Let the U.S. negotiate us out.
Okay, fuck this guy.
Let's go.
All right. As a first grouper, our AOR, or area of responsibility, is Asia. So every group has different ones. So we actually went, my team got sent to South Korea. We were there for an exercise, but we were also there in case anything happened. This is when tensions were high with North Korea and the U.S. a while back, 2017. And I remember before we went there, we had a brief, and they were talking about something like this. So like, if you, for some reason, find yourself in North Korea, like, and you get captured, it's like, we don't have diplomatic relationship with North Korea. Like so when he's like, maybe we just surrender and let the government, negotiate ourselves out. That doesn't happen with North Korea. And so legitimately in this brief, the guy that was briefing us before we left was like, if you were to find yourself captured, the best option we have is Dennis Rodman.
That's not a lie, though, right? Like,
no, it's
true.
not. It sounds as ridiculous as it sounds. Like, this was when Dennis Rodman, for some reason, was making trips to North Korea. Kim Jong-un was a huge Dennis Rodman fan. And there's basically like, if something happens, our only hope is that maybe Dennis Rodman can get you out, which he kind of like said in jest, but it's also kind of true because there's no diplomatic relations. So the fact that this guy's thinking, he's like, oh, we'll just surrender and let the government take care of it. No, buddy, you're going to surrender and wind up getting done like, what was it, Otto Warmbier or whatever his name was? Somebody will correct me, I'm sure. The guy that got captured in North Korea for trying to steal a poster, and they beat the crap out of him and returned his body in a vegetative state, and he died.
We going the right way?
I was trained to analyze data and update hardware, not this, all right? So if you guys could just give me a goddamn minute to figure out where the fuck we are, that would be great.
Hey, we're gonna be dead in a goddamn minute. Yeah, those fucking helicopters are everywhere.
We're told to follow these coordinates to the exfil, all right? If we get there, Delta will bring us home.
If we get there? This guy's cooked. Who's up next?
I think this is hilarious because I've been lost in the woods looking at my map like this before. Like, I don't know where the hell I'm at. But this is why SF trains on land nav so hard.
Yeah.
People are always like, oh, you could just use the GPS. It's like, these guys have access to GPS too, but sometimes shit happens and all you have is your map and a compass. And when you're sitting there looking and you have no idea what any of these squiggly lines on your map means, but everybody's looking at you, asking you where to go, and you're just like, oh, shit. That's not a good spot.
This is the beautiful thing about the documentary that we filmed, or the show that we did with Special Forces at 20th Group, is I no longer have to deal with like hearing about the stuff anecdotally and never just have to watch it on TV and hope that I can talk about it. I was physically there for an entire day following guys around doing land nav, watching them fail miserably. And hats off to all of those guys for even trying it, because as I'm watching this, I would be like, bro, I'd get so lost they would have to send a search party for me that would last 6 days, because I have no idea how they're figuring this stuff out. It's pitch black. They're not allowed to use lights. They're scared. They don't really know what's going on. They missed a bunch of stuff, so they're confused, and we're in the dark just sitting in woods listening to them walk back and forth. Like, we're seeing them stuck in dense vegetation, the draws that they were stuck in. I mean, they were in ghillie suits, and I was able to kind of get them in night vision and see them kind of crawling around, catching these guys, getting too close to the roads and stuff. And it was just an experience that just really goes to show you how difficult land nav itself is. Remove the rest of the parts of the military. That's the part that really scared me the most, because I'm like, if you really don't nail that down mentally, you're screwed when you're out there. There is no fail-safe. There's nothing. You're just done. You're just sitting in the pitch black woods with no idea which way to walk.
People make it so hard on themselves. Land navigation as a concept is fundamentally not very difficult. You learn these basic fundamentals, and as long as you apply these fundamentals correctly, you'll be able to find where you're at and where you're going at all times. The problem is that people either don't pay attention, or they get stressed and they start to forget steps, or they try to take shortcuts and miss steps. And that's one of the worst things you could do, is think that, oh, I'm just going to skip this step because I'm so good, I don't need to do this. And then all of a sudden you're lost. And once you get lost, finding where you're at on the map and in real life is super difficult.
Weaver, get back. The fuck, man? What the fuck?
Dude, that guy's a liability. And I'm thinking in this situation, like if I was in this situation, what would I do? That's a tough one, because you've got the North Koreans, the enemy unit is right there.
Yeah.
And so this guy's gotten up. So clearly there's no way for us to get this guy back without exposing ourselves.
Yeah.
So I guess, and kind of what they were doing is they're just letting him go at that point, hoping that if he surrenders, they just take him and just disappear and leave, and now he's not our problem anymore. But that just goes to show you, like, when you have a situation like this and you have civilians or whatever it is, that are with you, VIPs or whatever, you have to have control of that person.
I'm thinking if I was in that situation and I'm with a group of people who look lost, scared, and like they don't know what they're doing, I'm making decisions in my own mind to save my own life. So I'm looking at it and saying, do I trust these guys to get me to the exfil point and get me gone, or are they going to get me killed and themselves killed? Maybe I just turn myself in as a civilian, and that something else will happen. Maybe they'll let me go, right? So you're going through this shit in your head, and I'm supposed to look at you and be like, I hope you can save me, and you can't even land now, right?
I'm still with the map, like
right. I'm making decisions on my own. So yeah, you're gonna have to 100% have to have control of me, because if I see them coming and I see you guys sitting there, I'd be like, all right, game time. Take me.
They have not instilled confidence in this guy.
No.
Everybody relax.
I'll fucking drop him.
No, Ross, just chill out, okay? What is he saying?
What the fuck? How the fuck should I know?
No, he's Korean. He's Korean.
My grandparents are Korean, man. From fucking Gardena. Fucking shit. In, Mekju. I asked him for a beer.
All right.
Fun fact: Gardena is actually right over there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's still like an hour away from where I live, but it's in California.
They got a lot of Koreans
close
there?
to LA. I don't know.
So I want to go back to the chief, who's the guy that's laying down. He's injured.
Yeah.
Since they left the helicopter, the point of injury, he's had this. You notice the thing in his mouth?
Yeah.
From what I can see, and the only thing that makes sense is that's what we call a fentanyl lollipop. Oh. And so fentanyl lollipop, I'm sure everybody has now heard of fentanyl. It's a very powerful painkiller. And what we, as in the military, use these for is when somebody gets really, really injured, like this guy. He's got 2 broken legs. Like, he's on the verge of death. He's in a lot of pain. You need to keep him, like, otherwise he'd be screaming and going, like, you're carrying him through the woods. You got to keep him sedated. But generally with a fentanyl lollipop, you tape it to the person's finger. And the reason why you do that is they put it in because eventually they're going to pass out.
Okay.
And when they pass out, their finger falls out of their mouth, and they're no longer getting fentanyl.
This guy's just been
This guy has been
fentanyl.
sucking on fentanyl for the last hour and a half. He's not seizing because of his injuries. This guy is ODing. He's dying because of fentanyl at this point, because these idiots just shoved the lollipop in his mouth and just been taking their time going through the woods. Again, they're just showing that they don't really know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. And I love the fact that he's like, what's he saying to the one Asian guy, the Korean guy in the unit? He's like, I don't fucking know.
Oh, just freezing my dick off.
Yeah, I can't really help you with that. All right, I'll take over from here.
Get some rest, right? Roger that. Hey. Good work today.
Tactically, this is where we're going to talk about some real stuff. I don't like what he's doing. The setup for this is they're at this house, which is essentially in the middle of this large clearing. You're behind enemy lines.
Right.
You know the enemy is looking for you. And most of your team, except for one person, is inside resting, which is, it's important. You have to initiate some sort of rest plan because you have to have people be fresh. But you're only covering half of that field. He can't see anything that's on the backside of that house.
Yeah.
And so in my mind, I'm thinking that if you're going to do this properly, like this is a heightened situation.
Yeah.
You need to be in a heightened security posture. This is a very dangerous spot that you're in. So you have to have eyes on the backside of the house. So either you need to have preferably you have two people pulling security so you can see both sides and you have 360 degrees security. Or I don't know what it looks like. Maybe try to get somebody up on the roof so that they could see both sides there.
Yeah.
If you're only going to have one person. But right now he is so limited in what he can see. To be fair, he is blocking off the main route that there's a road that comes in. So chances are if the enemy's driving in a vehicle, they're going to come down that road. But what if they're not? What if they're on foot and they come from the back or something like that? I don't know. He's losing a lot of situational awareness because of the security posture that he's picked up, and I don't like that. It's a tough one.
It's a decent scene.
It was.
That was a decent scene.
And that's one of those, from the medical side, that's one of those wounds that, you got shot in the abdomen. So like we saw earlier, if you get shot in a leg or an arm or something like that, you could block off the blood flow with a tourniquet or something like that. This guy got shot in the lower abdomen. Abdomen wounds are kind of different because you can't block off, blood to the abdomen because it's a big cavity. There's a lot of space in there. And so generally, the only thing you could do is just pack that wound as tight as you can with either gauze or quick clotting agent or something like that. But you saw how fast and how much of that red or that blood was just coming out. It was just basically pouring out. So clearly there's an arterial bleed somewhere in there is what it looks like. And the other dangerous thing about abdomen wounds is, especially down there, it'll go in and it could hit his pelvis or something like that. Then that bullet's going to ricochet. So it's not necessarily always going to go straight in and through. A lot of times with these wounds, you'll have an entry wound down here. Then the exit could be like at the top of the back.
Oh, wow.
Or vice versa. You get shot up at the top and it'll come out like down by their ass or something like that. And as that bullet ricochets, it's just tearing things up in there. So that one is a nasty one. There's not much she could do. She recognized what it was when she got there. I think, it's kind of nitpicky in a real life.
If you tried.
Right, in a real life scenario, the
If
best
it's me
thing
on the ground, I'd like
Right.
it if you gave it a shot.
Right,
Right,
like
but-
don't check my pulse. Try to stop the bleed first. And honestly, in a situation like that, you're getting dirty. You're taking your fingers, you're jamming them in there,
Yeah.
and you're trying to see if you could feel, because you could feel that blood's coming out. So you're trying to feel where the artery is nicked or severed, and you're trying to get a finger on that and get pressure on it as quickly as possible. So that then you could figure out a more permanent way to keep that thing blocked off.
Yeah.
But she just ran up and she was like, nah, I'm good. So what we saw there, they're fighting in a tunnel, fighting the North Koreans, and so they are clearly in the wrong spot because this dumbass gets to the tunnel. You can go north or south.
Mm-hmm.
He goes north. Ooh. And so now they're trying to fight their way back south. What I did like is they actually used a somewhat decent bounding technique
Okay.
to, it's tactically withdraw because we don't say retreat. And so what happened is you see they'll post up 2 people on the side that are firing while the rest of the team moves down. And then once they get set, they can now start firing and allow the other people to move. And you're bounding. That way you're always having suppressive fire going towards the enemy to keep them in place while you're able to back off. So they did a decent technique. You know, it's kind of nitpicky. They dropped security a couple times or they would start peeling back before the other team started shooting. But it was a somewhat decent technique on how to bound. I'm not going to ding them too much on that.
So we have a clear idea of what it's like to go to war with the Middle East,
Yes.
right? So we understand that in terms of we own the night. We know our advantages. Theoretically speaking, do we know our advantages if this was to actually take place against like the North Koreans? Do we understand what we have and what they don't have?
Yeah, okay.
Where it would be advantageous? Does that exist, or do we have to go in to find out?
No, actually, we do have a pretty good idea. And so actually part of when I was in South Korea, towards the end, we had a North Korean defector who was a soldier that came and briefed us. And so he had defected a couple years prior. So this was probably 2013 when he left, somewhere around then. Timeline might be off. This was 2017 when he came and spoke to us. And he was telling us that the North Koreans, for the most part, which we all know, they don't have a lot of money.
Right.
So a lot of the equipment that they have is a lot of old Soviet era equipment. So you got a lot of AR or AKs and things like that. But he was telling us that it was so bad that not all soldiers were even given socks. So some soldiers didn't even have socks.
Right.
So they just have, shitty boots that didn't fit. And a lot of their supplies were just missing or just inadequate. And he was like, life over there, it's really, really tough. So North Korea, and I don't think it's any secret, they like to put on this front. Like they have all their shit together.
Right.
So they'll have these big parades and they'll have like guys out there in like full kit and all that. But that's a very small minority of the military. By and large, a majority of their military is severely underfunded, under-equipped. And, even when you go to the DMZ, you'll see it because when you go to the DMZ, it's those famous blue buildings that you always see that straddle the line between North and South Korea. Mm-hmm. And all of the North Korean soldiers, South Korea does it too now, all of the soldiers that you see in the DMZ, they have to meet a certain height requirement. They're well-fed, so they look strong, they look healthy. Right. But that's just putting on a front because the average North Korean soldier is nowhere near like that. Even the South Korean soldiers are the same way. I got some pictures of some of those guys. Those are the biggest South Koreans I'd ever seen. That is by far not the norm in South Korea. But it was just funny because we go there, and when you're inside that building that straddles the line, you can actually cross over into North Korea. But that's a sovereign building, so that's why you're allowed to. But there's a door at the back of the building, and they're like, do not open that door. So like, if you open that door, there's probably North Korean soldiers on the other side. If that door were to be open, there's potential they could grab you and pull you over. And now you belong to them. And then when you go outside the building, I'll send you the pictures so you can put up on the screen. When you go outside the building, there's a very clear line right there. And we got to see the famous part where Trump and Kim Jong-un met and they crossed the line. Mm-hmm. And you've got South Korean soldiers on one side, North Korean soldiers on the other side, and they just stand there like this. And it's just a very weird, surreal place to be. But yeah, by and large, we know what we're getting into with them. I think if we got into a battle with them, it would quickly be pretty devastating for South Korea because of all the artillery and everything that would go in the initial volley. Right. And Seoul is a densely populated area. But after that initial volley, I don't think it would be. I think that we'd pretty much roll through. All right, so that was Valiant One. What do you think, Abel?
Again, I think it's not for somebody who decided to make a movie, not very, not a big budget. I think it's not bad at all. I think there was some good scenes in there. There was obviously a lot of mistakes, but you're going to do that when it's when you don't have the money to bring in the right people. But I thought it was pretty cool. Do I want to watch it again? No, but I'm very much looking at this from a small filmmaker standpoint where I think it's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
But,
all right. So honestly, it tore it up a lot. There was a lot to nitpick on, but I kind of agree. It was an entertaining watch. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to watch it again. There was a lot of mistakes, but for what it was, not a bad. You could find worse movies, which we will review on the next episode. Yeah, but not the worst movie in the world. So
I guess my point is, if I set out to go make a movie, and this is what came out of it, I wouldn't be that upset about it.
Yeah. So if you guys watched it, drop us a comment. Let us know what you thought about the movie. And other than that, we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Peace.